There's a new political moment occurring on the debate on disarmament and whether it's desirable and feasible, particularly here in the United States. And it is unfolding in a variety of areas, including what U.S. nuclear policy should be. Unfortunately, the views of non-nuclear weapon states are not being taken into account. And in fact, nuclear weapon states and non-nuclear weapon states are talking past one another. So one of the objectives of this report was to go and talk to non-nuclear weapon states, a variety of really critical ones who matter for the future success of the nonproliferation regime, to understand what are their concerns, what are their views on a variety of nonproliferation initiatives that have been posed over the years, and also to get their sense of, why are they frustrated? What is their sense of what nuclear weapon states need to do in order to assure them that the grand bargain that was created with the Nuclear Nonproliferation Treaty is still intact and can be advanced. One of the most surprising results of my conversations with non-nuclear weapon states is that stockpile reductions does not rise to the top as a really important thing that the United States or other nuclear weapon states can do to show their seriousness on disarmament. Yet that is usually the focus of conversations here at home about what U.S. policy should be. Instead, non-nuclear weapon states are looking for other indications to show that nuclear weapons have been de-emphasized, particularly in U.S. national security policy. So instead, there was the two things that rose to the top that nuclear weapon states could do to show their seriousness. It was ratification of the CTBT, particularly by the United States and other holdout states, and then secondly, the commencement of negotiations on a fissile material cutoff treaty. The primary challenge for a new Obama administration is to get a reality check about what the external operating environment is for advancing the U.S. nonproliferation agenda. They need to realize that there is a large sense of frustration from non-nuclear weapon states, so much so that it will be difficult to advance our nonproliferation goals without acknowledging their concerns and responding to them. By changing our approach, meaning the U.S., but also in terms of a reorientation in our policies. I think, though, that will be challenging. There's a crowded policy agenda, which includes an economic crisis, two outstanding wars, and a whole host of other issues. So it'll be hard to, I think, get nonproliferation issues and disarmament issues to rise to the top as we'd like. But I do think it's important that they clue into what's really happening here, because it matters not only for the U.S.'s reputation abroad, but also for our security interests. And that was one of the main points I was trying to make here, that a call for the United States to take disarmament seriously is not born out of altruism or naivete or idealism. Instead, it's really born out of a sense that our ability to advance the nonproliferation agenda is in peril if we continue to ignore the views of non-nuclear weapon states. If the new U.S. administration can clue into what the external operating environment is and the recommendations of my report, particularly in terms of this reorientation to our approach and to non-nuclear weapon states and how to engage them, as well as the nonproliferation treaty mechanisms and processes, I think there's a real chance for there to be more constructive dialogue between nuclear weapon states and non-nuclear weapon states. And that said, non-nuclear weapon states, they're not a bloc, so it's always challenging to have to negotiate with them. You're talking about Brazil as much as you're talking about Iran. You're talking about Syria as much as you're talking about Australia. So it's a challenge, but one thing that was clear to me from this research is that it was important for the United States to do a better job of positioning itself. It's currently losing the soft power competition amongst these states, and we have to do a better job of not only clarifying our policies, but also communicating about them.